Today, we're going on a journey. We're tracing a single, unbroken chain of guidance, a sacred history that starts before time itself and leads us all the way to the final message for humanity. So let's start at the very, very beginning.
To even begin, we have to ask a question that is just huge. Think about it. Before the Big Bang, before a single star flickered on, when there was literally nothing at all, what was there?
You see, our story doesn't start with a bang. It starts with this profound silence. A reality before time, before creation. Something that's, really hard for our minds to even wrap around.
So picture this, a deep, vast, endless silence. In this state, there was only God, completely alone. The earliest accounts tell us his throne was upon water, which was the very first substance of the cosmos. Then, the first acts of creation start to unfold. First, God creates the pen and commands it to write. What should I write? The pen asks, and the command comes back, write everything. Everything that will happen right up until the final day. So, with all of destiny recorded, a single powerful word is spoken, be. And just like that, from absolute nothingness, existence bursts forth in what we might think of as the ultimate Big Bang.
And what's fascinating is that the early universe is described as this vast cloud of smoke, dukhan. It's from this primordial gas that God fashioned the galaxies, lit up all the stars, and formed our solar system. And right here, in one little corner of this immense cosmos, our home, the Earth, began to take shape, cooled and anchored with mountains, almost like pegs holding it steady.
But here's the thing, humans were not the first intelligent beings to walk on this new Earth. Nope. Before us came a creation forged not from humble clay, but from the very heart of a scorching fire. They were the Jinn, a hidden creation. Their name literally means concealed. Their fiery nature gave them incredible passion, speed, and great power. But the most crucial part? Just like us, they were given free will, that amazing and dangerous ability to choose between doing good and doing evil. And that right there set the stage for a massive test.
And get this, for 2,000 years, the Jinn ruled the Earth. They spread out, built cities, created whole civilizations. But that fiery nature of theirs, it eventually led to pride, to jealousy, and to massive corruption. They waged horrific wars, spilling blood and creating chaos, until God sent angels to cleanse the planet, pushing the survivors to the remote corners of the world.
So, with the Earth purified, the stage was finally set for a new successor, a new inheritor of the planet. It was time for the creation of humanity.
And this is where things get really interesting, because you see this fundamental difference in how they were made. The Jinn, created from fire, were full of pride, and that pride led directly to their rebellion. But humanity, shaped from simple, humble clay, our defining trait is something else entirely, forgetfulness. Now that trait led to our first mistake, for sure, but it also holds the key to our greatest strength, the ability to remember God and to ask for forgiveness.
The story of Adam and Eve is basically the blueprint for our own lives. They're placed in paradise, given just one rule to follow. They forgot, they were tempted, and they messed up. But, and this is the most important part, they immediately turned back to God and repented. Their forgiveness was granted, but their real journey, their test here on earth as God's representatives, had only just begun.
Okay, so humanity starts to spread across the globe, but a new, big problem pops up. People started forgetting the one true God and began worshiping idols instead. To guide them back, God started sending prophets, messengers with a very clear warning. And you start to see this powerful, almost tragic cycle repeat itself. A prophet comes to warn, and the people just deny him. Prophet Noah pleaded with his people for almost 1,000 years before that great flood came and washed away all their arrogance. The mighty people of Ad, who used to boast, "Who's stronger than us?" they were completely wiped out by a furious wind. And the people of Thamud, who were master craftsmen carving homes from mountains, they were silenced by a single deafening blast after they defied God.
But then, the whole story shifts. After all these cycles of destruction, God raises up one single figure whose legacy, whose pure belief in one God would change the course of human history forever.
This was Abraham, known as God's friend, and his faith was tested like you wouldn't believe. He stood alone against a tyrant king. He was thrown into a massive fire that, by God's command, became cool and safe for him. He was told to leave his family in a barren desert, and finally, he was asked to sacrifice his own beloved son. Through every single trial, his submission was absolute. And this just beautifully illustrates the divine plan.
Because from Abraham's incredible faith came two sons, Ismail and Isaac. And from the line of Isaac you get all the prophets of the children of Israel. But from the line of Ishmael over in the Arabian Peninsula, the final prophet was destined to emerge.
So, from Abraham's family, that chain of guidance just keeps on going. Prophet after prophet was sent to the children of Israel, and every single one of them came reinforcing the exact same core message.
This chain includes amazing figures like Joseph, whose journey from the bottom of a well all the way to the treasury of Egypt taught everyone about patience and forgiveness. It includes Moses, who stood up to the mighty Pharaoh, parted the Red Sea, and received the Torah. And, of course, it includes Jesus, who was given incredible miracles, healing the blind, curing the leper, and even raising the dead, all by God's permission.
Now here's a crucial point in this tradition. When his enemies plotted to kill him, their plan was completely foiled by God. According to this account, Jesus was not crucified. Instead, he was raised up to the heavens, alive, and he is destined to return before the end of time.
After Jesus was raised, the world falls into this long, deep silence. We're talking 600 years. For 6 centuries, no new prophet came. Humanity just descended into this period of ignorance, where the original messages got corrupted and were mostly forgotten.
Then, finally, in a cave, on a mountain, near Mecca, that 600-year silence is completely shattered. The angel Gabriel appears to an illiterate but deeply trusted merchant named Muhammad and delivers the very first word of the final revelation: read. So, the whole point of this final message wasn't to start something brand new. Not at all. It was all about completing that unbroken chain. It confirmed the truth that Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, and Jesus all brought. But unlike the previous messages for specific tribes, this one was for everyone, for all of humanity, with a timeless miracle, the Quran. And it was meant to complete the one true religion of submission to God that started way back at the beginning.
So that line of prophets, stretching all the way back to the very first human, is now complete. The guidance has been delivered, which really leaves just one final, essential question for all of us, right? What is our role in this story now?